Hello everybody. Schools, universities, or different organizations, those who run language courses, are killing creativity. Because students go and instructors are there and they ask for different exercises, and they compel students or language learners to work on different controlled practice exercises. You go there in school and your teachers ask you to work on different exercises, but you can't get chance to talk, communicate, or use your creativity in language, because language learning is all about creativity. And in my case, I started doing some English exercises when I was in grade 4, but I studied in schools and my teachers taught me English for many years, but I was not able to communicate in English, because all the things that I did in school was doing exercises and just listening to the teachers, being passive listener. Okay, but unless and until we learn ourselves, we go and talk to the people, we can't learn and we can't develop our speaking skill. Therefore, it is very necessary to create exposure yourself, and schools do not help communication. I'll give you an example. Many of my students, they are already like 22 and 23 and 24 years old. They are young learners and some of them are adults, and they've studied English in their school life and in the universities as well. But finally, when it comes to speaking, they have a problem to face the audience, to communicate, because when they start communicating, the vocabularies that they have, they disappear from their head. This is what they say. And this is because we didn't get the chance, some sort of exposure and the environment to speak in our school. Therefore, the curriculum and these textbooks that you are using in a school or the teachers are teaching from are not developing students' communicative skills, but they are making students to do some sort of controlled practice. What do I mean by controlled practice? Controlled practice is the students are given exercises from the textbook, and they work on it. They work and work and work, but they are okay with the exercising, but what they are not okay with is the communication. Whatever communication that teachers hold in the classes, they just become unnatural. They are not authentic, because this is something teachers create the situation and students have to work. This is on the exercises. This is not something that we do in real communication. And what we need in real communication is to talk in natural setting, to talk in authentic setting. For example, if you go to the restaurant or the place where you get food, if you want to order the food using English language, you have to be able to know the phrases and the expressions that we need while asking for or ordering food at the restaurant or the supermarket for other things. This is what is not learned in schools or the university or different language programs. So to be able to communicate properly, to recall the expressions, to use the expressions that are used for real communication or real situation, we need to learn real language or authentic language, which is not especially designed for teaching and learning purpose. So for that, what we can do, a learner who is learning language, who wants to develop communication skill, has to be able to do himself. He has to be independent learner. It means a learner has to create the environment where he can talk to the people, can listen authentic communication, can have proper communication with different people in real situation. That is what he or she has to do. And many students come and complain to me, like, I studied English for like 12 years and 13 years in my school life, but I'm not able to communicate it. The communication that I want to do with people, that doesn't come. Even though I understand people, what they talk, but at the same time, if I start to talk, the vocabularies I can't remember. Though I'm okay with writing and reading and other skills of language, but when I exactly talk to the people, it's difficult for me to recall the vocabulary that I want to talk about. So this is the problem of our school curriculum. This is the problem of our university courses. This is the problem of our schools where they run different sort of curriculums, and they say that this is the best method and that is the best method, and they ask students to do some sort of controlled practice, and that doesn't work at all, because in controlled practice in schools, and you are not taking responsibility of your learning. Somebody is your boss of learning, so teacher imposes here his method or technique on you, and that's how that may not be suitable for you, because you want to learn in a different way. All the learners have different ways of communication, different ways of language learning. These styles that the students have, they are not addressed by the teachers' techniques. May not be addressed, or some of them might be okay for the students, but they are not okay with all the students. That's why it's very, very important for the language learner to find out some sort of environment, and creating the learning stations is very important. What I mean by learning stations, for example, you can access the internet, for developing some skills. You can access you can read different books, and go and talk to the people, and find out some pair to talk, right? Find out some friends to talk. Therefore, it is the more you use the language in your communication, the better you learn. That's the principle. You go, unless and until a learner goes and communicates, it's really impossible to develop your communication. Understanding is okay. People, talk, and even native speakers, they talk. Good speakers of English, they talk. You understand whatever they talk. But at the same time, when you start, communicating, speaking, that is what happened to me as well. In the beginning, I learned many things from my teachers, and most of the times teachers didn't, even though they didn't speak in English, but I understood what people were saying in English language. But when I started to speak with people, I had to give a sort of pause, I have to stop there and think about the vocabularies from my mind. So that was the case, because this is the problem. Why this happens is we do not practice our speaking. So taking responsibility, going in front of people, talking without concentrating very much on mistakes that you commit. If you go and talk with people and start talking, and whatever English you talk in the beginning, it doesn't matter. Take the responsibility of your learning. And schools and these university courses and other courses that you do with under your supervisor or the instructor, they are not going to help you. Unless and until you are motivated, you find out learning stations, you are not going to learn the communication. Thank you very much.